Hey, so today I just wanted to show you how to make a Performance Max campaign. So you'll see that we're in our Google Ads over here. And to get started, we'll just click this big blue button, which says New Campaign. Click New Campaign again. We'll just wait for the screen to load. So on this page, you're going to choose your objective. So depending on what you're looking to do for your business, might be sales, leads, website traffic, app promotion, awareness and consideration, local store visits and promotions, or create a campaign without guidance. There's descriptions for each of these and just choose the one which is most suitable for your business. But for us, let's go with sales. Now here you want to actually add a conversion action. So you can click a goal that's related to what is considered to be a conversion. Now, for that, you'll need to actually set up your conversion goals before you get started with your Performance Max campaign. So if you haven't set those up, then please view our video on how to set up your conversion goals. But for us today, we've clicked contacts. Let's click continue and move our way through. Now we can actually select Performance Max campaign. This is where you're selecting your campaign type. There's all the other versions here, but for the purpose of today's video, we're doing the Performance Max campaign. Now, if you've got an e-commerce store, you will select to add products from a Merchant Center account. That's where all of your product feed comes through from your website. But for the purpose of this one, we're setting it up for Hedgehog, and we don't have products because we are a service-based business. Now, what is the website where people will be going to? Just drop your website in there and put a name in there. We like to always call them with PMAX and just a description, Hedgehog example. And I like to put the month in April 2025, so you always know when and what the campaign is. Let's click continue and move forward to the next stage, if Google will let us do that. There we go. It might ask you to actually pick up from a save draft campaign, or if you're looking to start new, let's just start new and show you what we're working on and how to build this. So, number one, bidding. What do you want to focus on? Now, either conversions or conversion value. The reason for that is because I selected sales as our campaign type. Now, conversions is the number of conversion events. So that would be inquiries for us. It might be clicks on a phone number. It might be email submissions. It might be actual form submissions. That's what conversions is. And conversion value is when you actually optimize towards the revenue. When we're getting started with the campaign, I typically like to start with conversions before we put conversion value in there, unless we are an e-commerce store. For e-commerce stores, typically want to go for conversion, but have a think about what's most relevant for your business, whether you just want the total number of conversions or you're actually looking for specifically for value. And if you are looking for value, are you using a platform which actually pushes that data back into Google Ads? If you're an e-commerce business, that's very simple. But if you are a service-based business, you need to be using a CRM or customer relationship manager that actually integrates with Google Ads and pushes the data back. We use What Converts, but there are a bunch of tools out there. Let's use conversions for now, though. You can set a target cost per action. That is how much you'd be willing to actually spend per that action. So target cost per acquisition, so target cost per conversion. Now, I never start campaigns with this on. This is a setting which I'll turn on later. What can happen is if you are too restrictive on this and you say $30 and Google can't achieve that, it just stops running and it's a nightmare for people. If we go to conversion value, you can actually go for a target return on ad spend and say 200% would mean that for every dollar you'd like to make $2. Again, I never get started with these because it can totally kill the distribution of your campaigns. So to get started with, we're just going to go for conversions. Now you can set it to bid for new customers only if you want your campaign to be specifically for new customers. Typically when I'm getting started, I don't set this up. I like to capture everybody in the market. When you're getting a bit more technical and you've got a bit more structure around your campaigns, you might have a campaign specifically for new customers that does not touch your existing customers. Let's click next. Now this is just all the nitty gritty, so all of your kind of locations. So you're going to select Australia, but you can actually go into enter another location. And you can put in, say, a postcode, which does not seem to be coming up there, but let's just go for Melbourne. Oops, that's where I am. So you can go Melbourne, you can click to include, exclude, or go nearby. Let's just say include, it's going to say the actual reach. But what you can also do is you can click advanced search. And this is how I really like to do things, is go to radius, so that you're doing within a specific radius of your location. Selecting kilometers because we're in Australia. Let's go 5 kilometers and let's just say Hawthorn in Melbourne. So it's actually going to show us a 5 kilometer radius from Hawthorn, but that can be as low as 1. So let's go for Clifton Hill. Whoops, Clifton Gill, Clifton Hill. Beautiful. So you can see it's actually a really tight radius, and that just says your ads will only show in that really specific radius, which is really strong for local businesses. For the purpose of this, let's just keep those in there. You can select languages in case you want to target people who speak a specific language. Self-explanatory. Asset optimization. All our asset optimizations are on. So that means that Google's actually going to optimize things for us. Now, it depends what type of business you are. If you care about your brand, you maybe want to just turn these off because you're going to be basically setting these up for yourself with all of your content and your creative. You might have, say, an agency or someone internally who's really good at creating content. But if you're like me and you just want to get the best ads out there and you're happy for the platforms to make their optimizations, then what I would personally do is I'd actually turn these on. Now, you might want to exclude some URLs on your website if you don't want people going there, and you can just drop those URLs in here. So it might be like your privacy policy page, for example. So let's just go back with those. More settings. You can choose what times of day. If you're basically, let's just say you're a lunch shop, you might want to run ads specifically from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You might want to have start and end dates for your campaign. You might want to put some campaign URL tracking in here. I won't go into detail there, but if you do want to set up some specific tracking, you can check out our UTM guide. And page feeds and brand lists. Now, brand exclusion lists, this one's really important. We actually have a brand list in here for Hedgehog. Now, what that is it's basically saying we don't want anyone who's searching specifically for Hedgehog marketing to appear in this Performance Max campaign. The reason for that is that we don't want to be basically paying for people who search on Google for Hedgehog marketing and then click on our listing because we rank number 1 for that anyway on Google. And so we don't need to be paying for it. So if you're a brand, often chuck that in there unless you're a really big brand or you're highly competitive where you may not want to include your brand exclusion list. Cool. So I'm actually just going to click save there and let's just pop Hedgehog in. Beautiful. Let's go to the next page. So Google's new AI can kind of like help you start to generate assets. So this is going to be where people will go. So what's the final URL? And it will ask you for some starting points of what you're actually marketing. Now, let's just basically say, let's just go Google Ads training. Beautiful. You can describe what makes your business's your products or services unique. So we offer personalized one-to-one digital marketing training. So personalized one-to-one Google Ads training, just as an example. You should put a bit more context and detail in there. Google has given you the 3,000 character limit, but for the purpose of this, I'm not going to make that too long. And then you can actually just give it pages where it can grab content from. So it's got our website, our LinkedIn, and our Instagram. If you don't want to do this, you can just click skip and go past asset generation. But for the purpose of it, let's let Google generate some assets for us. Now, while it's generating those, I'm actually going to create an asset group name and let's call it PMAX. Asset group name will be Google Ads Training and April 2025. Now, in my asset group name, you may have noticed that I've actually put Google Ads in there because asset groups is actually where you set your targeting and your creative. So your campaign is just kind of like a host for everything that fits underneath it. Your asset group is where you've got your targeting and your creative. And this one's going to be all focused on Google Ads training. So let's start setting that up. Search themes. So what are some of the things that people might be searching for? And we want to make sure that we capture them. So Google Ads training, Google Ads course, learn Google Ads. So those are a few examples. So what that means, if someone searches for something around one of those themes, that means that that person will then become an audience who we can target on Google search, but also on the other channels of Google's like YouTube, Gmail, Display, Discover, etc. We can also put in audience signals, so you can put in your own data. So this is where you can actually have all visitors to your website, as well as other action points that you might have, like people who've booked in meetings and finding people who are similar to that. But you can also add in additional signals. So this is where it gets really powerful. So you can add in market segments, life events or more. So it might be new home, So new houses for sale, they might be in the market for that. But let's just say they have a life event. Renovating home soon, purchasing a home, recently purchased a home. Those are life events. So you can actually capture people based on life events that have occurred to them, but also based on them being in the market for something, for example, a new house. But for the purpose of this, let's just say Google Ads training. I don't know if that's going to be one of them. In the market. I mean, these are relatively strong. So let's say they're in the market for Google AdSense and Google advertising. So actually looking for that service. You can put those in as an in-market. You want that to be as strong or close as possible. Now, you can also do some detailed demographics. So it might be something they're interested in. So over here, you can see business professionals is an affinity. So that's actually an interest of theirs, that they are a business professional. And that means that they will be included in your targeting. If you want to, you can save this. So let's just say business professionals, business profs, website visitors, Google Ads in market, Google Ads search theme. That just kind of describes the whole item above. Cool. Now that's all the audience targeting done. And now we get into the stage of actually setting up our ads. Now, this is where Google has already put in, so we've got our final URL in here, which Google seems to have an issue about. It wants an HTTPS there, so HTTPS, beautiful, that should go away, lovely, nice little tick. And then you've got your headlines. So those headlines you most typically know from Google search, being these blue linked text. Now, you can actually flick between all the different types of channels here to see how it will appear. Go to YouTube, go to Discover. But you can see that we actually don't get examples of those yet because we need to have some images loaded up. Now, these headlines, you can update them to whatever you want them to be. We like to just have your brand in there, have some key USPs, but also primarily just exactly what people are searching for. So Google Ads training or personalized online training or personalized Google Ads training. But Google's done a really good job of pre-filling this for us. You've also got your long headlines. So this is where you've got longer text, and that's really powerful in a platform like Discover, where if you've got an iPhone, then it's in the Google app, or if you've got an Android phone, then it's going to be when you swipe to the left. And here you can see it says Google Ads Marketing, the Hedgehog Edge, digital marketing agency done with you. Now that's typically meant to be that kind of like clickbaity article where you're really encouraging people to click through and learn more. Descriptions. That's actually, if you go into Google search here, that's the text which is directly underneath your heading. Now, let's go to the images. Now, I'm actually just going to upload some images. You can upload up to 20 images, 5 logos, and 5 videos. I'm just going to do some of those now. All right, so I've just uploaded some images, and you can see these at, up the top here. These are the 3 images I've included, but Google's all automatically made some cuts of those. Now I've actually put in a horizontal, a square, and a vertical, because Google does like to have each of those variations. But you can see at the bottom, it's actually made some cuts of them. Now I don't like that because it's actually cutting off the text for me. So I just want the exact assets that I've uploaded to appear. But all 4 of these are actually okay because they include all the content that I had there, so I'm happy to have them. Now you can see that Google wants you to have more variations to get a higher ad strength. For the purpose of this, I won't be adding those. And that's up to you. You know, having more is good because Google will just test them across various different areas. But if you've got like a specific item that you're advertising, you don't want to have too many images in there. And if you don't have too much ad spend, there's really no point in doing so. So we'll just save those and let's get a video up there as well. Now I actually don't have a video to upload directly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click New, Create Video, and we can actually create a video directly in the platform. So let's just choose this one and use this template. And so you can say Google Ads training. Cool. You can go to each of these panes. You can add in images and it's going to say text 2, personalized in your own accounts. Great. So that would be an image that you could upload. Alrighty, so here we are. So here's my created video. You can click new there. And I believe that maybe I could quickly show you that, my sample video that I created. Google Ads training, I just did that in a few seconds. And that's the type of thing that Google has built in if you don't have your own video assets, which actually makes it really easy to set up. So let's just get out of that. We're going to click save. Now we've got a video in there. I'm going to update my logos. So let's just put this logo in. You want to make sure that they always appear properly. You can see that these do not appear properly at all. So I'm going to go to Asset Library and I'm going to actually choose that one and untick this one because it is too wide and get rid of our old branding. Beautiful. Now it is ideal to have logos of different variations of size, so a horizontal and a square. In this instance, I'll just be showing you the square. Now you can add a whole bunch of extra content in here. So your site links. So these would be other websites where you take other landing pages on your website where you take people to. This commonly appears down here in search, which you might be familiar with, but it can also appear in other channels. And when you're making your Performance Max, I always recommend to click through these channels on a regular basis and just make sure that they appear good. Now, call to action. Whoops. Oh, sorry. You can make it automated, or you can actually choose what you want it to be. So you might want to say get quote in this instance. Now you can also add other asset types. So you can add specific promotions, prices, calls, or call outs. Just a couple of things for me to call out. Call outs are pretty good. They add a little bit more extra information to your search ad. So you can see one-to-one personalized training. Let's add that in. And let's see if we get that as an example. So you can see that one-to-one personalized training is just right at the bottom here. Learn at your own accounts, custom platform training, local experts. Let's add those all in. You can also add in calls. That will be direct phone calls to your phone number, and just other bits and pieces in here which will let you play around with, but it's not the core part of the setup. You can change some URL elements, but again, let's not talk about that today. That will be in our tracking item. Now here's where you set your budget. Google's recommending $49 a day. Look, PMax works really well with about $50 a day, but you can get started from just $20 a day. But let's, for the purpose of this, just click next. And your campaign is going to be ready to publish. And of course, Google wants me to verify that it's me. Give me one moment. All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Google will just give you a final summary page here. So you can review everything that you've just set up and make sure that it's all correct. If anything is wrong, you can click on it and update it, or you can actually go back on the left-hand side to any of these sections. And that is pretty much it. And where is my little button to hit go? Don't know, maybe we need to get rid of this. Oh, there we go. Up the top, publish campaign. Once you click that, your campaign will go live. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will not be clicking it though. Hope that helps. Cheers.